Tshisekedi is a human being, Mr. Speaker. He will bolt. How will Kagame feel if the actions of a country that is, fronting a candidate seems to be hostile to the interests of Rwanda or South Africa or Tanzania, Mr. Speaker? I want to appeal to my president, President William Ruto, to talk less, do his foreign policy at times under the carpet, to avoid stepping on so many presidents' toes, Mr. Speaker, because they are also human beings. Everything that you do here impacts on your relations with another country, either positively or negatively, Mr. Speaker. And I know the PS Foreign Affairs, Singhuei, is a colleague, is a lawyer like me. And I feel so proud, I feel honored when I see a lawyer occupying that position of secretary in the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Mr. Speaker. But I also want to speak to my friend Singhuei to also be very cautious before speaking on a matter that may touch on our relations with other countries, Mr. Speaker. You remember, Mr. Speaker, SADC wrote a letter. P.S. Singhuei responded with a public criticism. That did not augur well with SADC countries, Mr. Speaker. So, really, the best thing they say is that you should learn from your failures. Let's learn from our failures. What happened to us as a country? We should sit down, evaluate, and take some key lessons from what happened, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on Saturday, and God Almighty is my witness, and my pastors in Nyamira are my witness, I told my pastors that instead of going to Addis Ababa, I'll be on my knees in Nyamira praying for Baba, Kenya's candidate, to win AU chairmanship in Addis. I was at Mesowa SDA in Ikonge with pastors, and we prayed for Raila Amolo Odinga, Mr. Speaker. Those who chose to accompany him to Addis Ababa, that was good. But how did we conduct ourselves, Mr. Speaker? If you have been a member of Law Society, and I know you have been, and you are a member in good standing, you know what happened when I was the president of Law Society of Kenya. We came up with a very good initiative to open the borders in East Africa so that lawyers in Tanzania can come and practice in Kenya, and lawyers in Kenya can go and practice in Uganda, and vice versa, Mr. Speaker. But when we were making that declaration in Speak Munyonyo Hotel in Uganda, the contingent from Kenya was the largest in that meeting. And they came there loaded, they had money, Mr. Speaker. So they painted Kampala. And you know, when the proposal was put on the table, the Ugandans were like, if this is the way these guys are behaving, even before we open the borders, if we open the borders, they'll take over Uganda. The Tanzanians said, if these guys are allowed to practice in Tanzania, they will take over. And Mr. Speaker, whereas we acted in good faith and opened the borders, we have Ugandans who are practicing in Kenya today, courtesy of that decision. But Uganda and Tanzania have never opened the borders for us because of the way we conducted ourselves. So, Mr. Speaker, at times, the cheering squad, the delegation that accompanied our candidate to Addis Ababa, Mr. Speaker, should have quietly given moral support to our candidate without loading it on the other countries, other presidents, because social media travels faster than even normal news, Mr. Speaker. So next time, let's learn. If it's not a football match, if it's a football match, you show you are mighty and you shout. But if it's something that is diplomatic, Mr. Speaker, let's be sensitive as to how we conduct ourselves. because our conduct can irritate and annoy